Ryan Day and Ohio State appear to be on track to get another college football playoff appearance under their belt. They're also looking to overthrow Michigan's hold at the top of the Big Ten. We'll look at 10 players that will make that happen, and it's going to be a fun year for Ohio State. We start with a transfer in Syracuse safety, Jihad Carter. Now, Jihad Carter didn't really get noticed until he hit the transfer portal. He kind of flew under the radar just because he played at Syracuse, and a lot of people don't really pay attention to the Orange in terms of football. But he is someone who has big time talent and someone who can elevate this defense. This is a defense that was fairly solid. I think that Jim Knowles is a great addition by Ryan Day, and we saw that last year. We saw a more aggressive Ohio State defense. And at times, obviously, they got gashed, but that's going to happen when you're playing as aggressive as they do. Also, it's the first year of learning that system. Now you have a full year of experience for a lot of these players. Jihad Carter obviously is not one of them, but he can get up to speed from the other guys around that have been with this program and been in this system for that full year. This is still a group, like I said, that was fairly solid statistically. This is a group that finished near top 40 in most statistical categories. And Jihad Carter, to me, only elevates them to another level. An area that is going to be under the spotlight for many reasons is the rushing attack. And Mayan Williams comes back after a breakout year with 825 yards and 14 touchdowns. And the thing that's going to be the thing to watch is how healthy can this group be and how efficient can this group be? Because one, you're bringing in a new quarterback to start. So that means you're going to need some time to get everybody acquainted and get some chemistry built. Two, you need healthy players. Now, Ohio State does a great job of recruiting talent, and at times you had to put Chip Trainum, a former Arizona State running back, turn linebacker, turn back to running back to help provide depth. But if you get Mayan Williams a healthy year, then I think you're expecting big things from him and that rushing attack. And we'll talk about another player that fits in that regard. And then if you're talking about a group that is probably the X factor, it is the rushing attack. This is a group that finished 32nd last year, which is really good. And technically, that's the weakness, if you want to pick that, of the offense, given how efficient and how explosive the passing attack was. So the rushing attack will need to take a step forward and will need to showcase what they can do. Player that we mentioned before that is under the spotlight the most is Kyle McCord, the 6'3", 215-pound quarterback, reunites with his favorite target from high school, and he has to replace CJ Stroud. It's no easy task. It's a very tall task, but Kyle McCord is a talented player. There's a reason why Ryan Day and his staff are so successful is because they continue to bring 4 and 5 star talent to replace the 4 and 5 star talent that departs. Kyle McCord obviously is entering his first season as a starter. He also has Devin Brown behind him, pushing him. But I think that the his ability to pass the football and his talent around him will make life pretty easy. Even when you lose a little bit of talent up front, you're looking at a offense that is just fine. There shouldn't be too many concerns. There shouldn't be too many things that you need to worry about. This group will, like I said, be a good explosive group once again. And Kyle McCord doesn't have to do too much, but he has the talent to be a weapon for this offense. Flipping back to the defensive side of the ball, a player that can get Jihad Carter up to speed quicker than expected is Lathan Ransom. And I really like, he maybe isn't the safety that everyone talks about, but he is a player that will win over a lot of coaches and win over his teammates. Someone who does a little bit of everything on special teams, on defense. He is going to give it his all, and he is someone who can give that effort that is infectious to the teammates around him. And you have a tandem of Ransom and Jihad Carter. I really like that group, and it'll be a fun group to watch because the secondary will face plenty of talent this year. They will face plenty of experienced players and plenty of talented wide receivers. So being able to shut down opposing passing attacks will make life a lot easier for this team in general. Up front will help as well. And once again, this is a group that returns a ton of talent, but Michael Hall is one that stands out at defensive tackle. And that's saying something considering the number of talented players, the number of potential NFL draft picks that you have on the defensive line. Michael Hall is extremely disruptive, extremely explosive off the football. And if he can stand out, you're looking at a guy who could be in the first round of next year's 2024 NFL draft. And player behind him that had a huge year, one of the biggest beneficiaries of Jim Knowles' system was Tommy Eisenberg. And you're looking, I think that at 120 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, he's a disruptive player. And Eisenberg is one of those players that you love what he can do for your team. He's a leader. He can get guys in position. And now he has a full year of experience under his belt. So he can be even more aggressive. He can be even more beneficial to this team and helpful to his teammates because he knows where everybody needs to be. He knows how to get them lined up. And that will help a group that expects big things this year. We talked about the rushing attack before. Trevion Henderson, to me, is the best back on this team. Again, it just comes down to health. If he can stay healthy, he is one of the most explosive players in college football. Injuries have hampered his career, especially last year. He struggled to stay on the field at times. And I'm really hoping he can stay healthy because I really like what he does for Ohio State, both as a runner and as a pass catcher. He is someone who can make a big difference. He is a big time playmaker. And if he is back to 100% and healthy, then Ohio State will once again have one of the best offenses in college football. We'll go back to the defensive line. JT Tuimoloau had a big game. And then after that, I think we were kind of expecting him to continue that and didn't, but still had a solid season. Now everyone is looking to him to have another big year. He and Jack Sawyer will be two of the better defensive ends in college football. It's just a matter of how high can they elevate their game. At one point, we were talking about him as a first round pick, and that kind of died a little bit as the season progressed, but he's someone to definitely keep an eye on and keep a watch out because you have first round talent. And speaking of first round talent, the next two guys fit in that category as well. Emeka Buka, if he wasn't on Ohio State, he would be the best wide receiver on his team. But because Marvin Harrison Jr. is back, that obviously isn't the case. But Emeka Buka is a big time playmaker, one that had over 1,100 yards for the Ohio State Buckeyes last year. And he is someone, if teams are focusing too much attention on one guy, specifically Harrison, he's someone that can gash you. He is a big time playmaker, nearly average 16 yards per catch, someone who can do a lot of damage if you're not careful. And then we'll talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. There's not really much I can add about Marvin Harrison Jr. that you probably haven't heard already. Obviously, you know the pedigree, you know the big time playability, and you know the impact he has on his team. If you watched the college football playoff and you saw what happened when he went down and what that did to the offense, you know the impact he has on his team. You know how good he can be, and you know the importance of him staying healthy. So he will be a first round pick. There shouldn't be any question about that. It's just a matter of how big of a year does he have. And if teams decide that they want to send attention his way, I'm sure he'll be fine with that. He will still get his. And it's just a matter of what his teammates can do. When you have Emeka Buka, you have Julian Fleming, you also have Cade Stover at tight end. They have plenty of talent. They have plenty of weapons around him that if he doesn't have the best year, it doesn't really matter. Ohio State appears to be in great hands. They are in a great position to get back where they need to be. And their goal is to beat Michigan and get back the Big Ten that they lost from those Wolverines. And I think they can do that. There's a couple of positions that obviously need to take a step forward, and Kyle McCord in the quarterback position is one of them. But if that happens, watch out for Ohio State this year.